Now, I have a theory on how Sukuna will resurrect, which of course will involve Megumi, and I'm so confident that it's right that I'm even gonna have to put something like spoilers or something in the title, because I'm 98% sure it's gonna be correct. And hey, if you're watching this a year from now and I turned out to be wrong, well, yeah, you can cook me and flame me in the comments for this. But I'm pretty confident that it will be right, so hopefully I don't make a fool of myself. It's a pretty interesting one. I have some evidence to back it up too, so without killing any more time, let's get into it. Now, before I even explain the theory, let me just inform you guys about what Occam's razor is. Occam's razor is more like a philosophical saying, which says that the simplest solution is always the best. And I can't lie, being in the anime community for all of these years since I was a little kid, this has always ended up being true. You know, you're gonna go on YouTube, you're gonna see all these crazy theories about like how Sukuna will resurrect, or how this character will turn evil, or that this character will betray the other. I'm telling you guys, with all of these anime and stories and everything, the correct solution is usually the simplest answer. And what's the simplest answer in this case? It's that Megumi is going to resurrect Sukuna. Now, before I explain how he's going to do it, let me explain the why. 100% Sukuna needs Megumi for his resurrection plan. Sukuna on multiple occasions has openly said or thought that he needs Megumi alive for his plans of resurrection. Sukuna, being a bloodthirsty monster, has even gone to the point of actually healing Megumi to keep him alive, just for his plans. So it's very, very clear that he needs it. And the final nail in the coffin is that right after Shibuya, the reason Yuji didn't actually want to hang out with Megumi and everyone in Jujutsu High, I mean, beside the fact that he felt guilty about killing everyone, was specifically because he knows that Sukuna needs Megumi for something. And he even tells Megumi this, and they make an agreement that if Sukuna is to come out, that Yuta will kill Sukuna and Yuji. So yes, it's confirmed Megumi is needed for whatever plan Sukuna has. Now, the general idea that people go about is that Sukuna wants to take over Yuji's body. This is incorrect. Sukuna in no way whatsoever wants to take Yuji's body. He just does not want to do that. He had multiple chances in Shibuya with Mahito, make a binding vow and take over Yuji's body. And he has openly said, even to Jogo, that he is going to resurrect, but not using the way of taking control over Yuji's body. That's clearly not how he wants to do it, which people still think this is the case. It's absolutely not. He does not want to control Yuji's body. That's absolutely not what he wants to do. So clearly he has some other plan. Now, what could this plan of resurrection be? We've seen that when he talks with Uraume. So Uraume is the white-haired person. We don't know their gender, as it was never said. So Uraume is actually the chef of Sukuna. They're actually the cook. They're actually Sukuna's personal cook. So basically Sukuna, way back in the day, 1,000 years ago in the Heian era, actually loved to eat humans. As crazy as that sounds, yes, he was a cannibal. And Uraume is actually the best cook for human flesh. So yeah, take that information as you will. But pretty much Uraume seems to be aware of the plan as well, as when Sukuna meets him, he tells Uraume to not neglect his preparation. So something is clearly going on behind the scenes. And now let's get into Uraume. What does Uraume have to do with all this? Now, obviously Uraume is not an immortal. Uraume has been alive for 1,000+ years, but it's not like they've lived the 1,000 years. He is no Tengen. What seems to be the case, and this is just a theory of mine, but this theory is very, very, very likely to be true. It's not a crazy one. It's just that probably Kenjaku resurrected or had Uraume be reborn from hell, as he has done with all the other sorcerers such as Ryu Shigori, Hajime Kashimo, Uro, and so on. Kenjaku seems to have the ability to resurrect these sorcerers from the past into the current day. So obviously it's no issue or trouble for him at all to resurrect Uraume from the past into a current day sorcerer. And the reason why this is likely is because he clearly has ties with Kenjaku. From the very first time we saw Kenjaku and his boys at the beach, Uraume was there hanging out with them. So clearly he has ties to Kenjaku. And what's even more than this is that Sukuna himself has direct ties with Kenjaku, as they did know each other 1,000 years ago, and they seem to have formed some sort of contract 1,000 years ago. And of course, if he knew Sukuna, then he also knew Uraume, who was Sukuna's chef back in the day. So clearly, for some reason, Kenjaku had resurrected Uraume. Perhaps this was due to some negotiations or some sort of contract or plan that they've had with Sukuna. But regardless, there does appear to be some plan to bring Sukuna back. Now, let's get back to the main point of Megumi and Sukuna not wanting to resurrect into Yuji's body. Now, the reason how both of these two things can be true is that Sukuna doesn't actually need to be resurrected into Yuji's body because of Megumi's 10 Shadows technique. Now, what does Megumi's 10 Shadows technique do? It allows him to summon cursed spirits, battle them, and if he wins or loses, he can kind of tame them. But what's the important part of that sentence? Megumi has the ability to summon cursed spirits. All of the Shikigami that he has are cursed spirits that he can summon using his technique, and once he beats them, he turns them into his Shikigami and can summon them into battle. Even Mahoroga, the absolute monster, was pretty much that. He was just a cursed spirit which has gone down through the 10 Shadows technique through all of history. Since the 10 Shadows technique seems to be some sort of meta ability where even users through all of the past generations, and even probably 10 Shadows users, if they were to exist in current day too, would all have some shared link about what they can summon. They seem to all share some sort of shadow realm where they summon their creatures and what they can summon, because Mahoroga was able to be summoned through sorcerers of the past, exist, though they can never claim it, and Megumi, even to this day, can still summon that same Mahoroga. Now, I believe you all know where I'm going with this. The idea is Megumi is going to resurrect Sukuna with his 10 Shadows technique. So now this is going to benefit everyone, because Yuji will keep his body and Megumi will be resurrected as a separate person. So it's going to be like Megumi is pretty much going to summon the cursed spirit Sukuna from inside of Yuji, and then he will kind of be a separate entity. So Sukuna will exist in the real world and Yuji will exist, so it will separate them. Maybe he'll summon him out of his soul. Now, how he's going to do this, we have no idea, though we know that the 10 Shadows technique still has a lot of potential and a lot of things we haven't seen of. As Gojo has even said that the 10 Shadows technique has a very, very high skill gap and potential. So I don't think it's high enough to make him as strong as Gojo. That's a whole video for another day. The point is, there's a lot that the 10 Shadows technique can do that Megumi hasn't even begun to access. So perhaps Megumi will be able to just, for whatever reason, tap on Yuji and just summon Sakuna out. Now, of course, then the main question comes, why would he do this? There could be literally dozens of different reasons why this could be the case. Maybe they need to summon Sukuna, maybe Sukuna forces him to summon him out of him, maybe Uraume, who's making some preparations, is going to force Megumi to summon him. I don't think Megumi is going to become evil or do this by choice. I think he's going to be forced to do it, but however they're going to get Megumi to do it, he is going to do it for whatever reason. I mean, hey, maybe he'll become evil. I really doubt that. I hope GEGE does not go down that route. But I guess that part isn't important because there's a million ways you can write it into Megumi has to summon Sukuna for whatever reason. There's so many ways you could do that. But the point is, Megumi is going to use his 10 Shadow technique, summon Sukuna, and he will be out of Yuji's body. And then boom, now we have Sukuna, who will, who knows, maybe battle full-powered Gojo. Who knows what will happen? That's the theory. It's a very simple idea. It's not that complicated. It doesn't need that much thought. There's a overwhelming amount of evidence for it. And as Occam's razor goes, the simplest solution is always the right one. And as someone who has been a fan of not just anime and manga, but I read a lot of novels, this always ends up being true with every theory. People throw 1,000 crackpot, complicated, insane theories, and none of them end up being true. It's always these simple ideas that are true, which is why I'm very confident that this is going to be the case. Now, again, if this turns out to be incorrect and Megumi doesn't summon Sukuna, you guys, by all means, cook me in the comments. I've earned the right to be flamed and cooked for this video. But alas, I do think this is true. I mean, in every what way, this is probably going to happen. For the why, there's so many reasons that it could happen. That's not important. The idea is Megumi is going to resurrect Sukuna using his 10 Shadows technique. And it's a pretty simple theory that I thought of. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people in the community have thought about this, because to be honest, there's so much foreshadowing for this. I really would not be surprised if this is like some common theory around that Megumi will summon Sukuna with his 10 Shadows. Because come on guys, it's gonna be the case. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider subscribing. I have a ton of JJK content just like this, a ton of theories, JJK what ifs, versus battles, power scaling videos, even discussion videos on specific characters. So yeah, if you're into that kind of stuff, please do subscribe and join the Uraume fan club. And if you have any theories of your own, whether you agree with this simple theory, maybe you have some more complicated ones, or maybe you want to add on to this theory, I'm sure many fans think this, because I mean, come on, Sakuna needs Megumi to resurrect him. What is the one thing Megumi can do? He can summon cursed spirits. So yeah, not the most complicated theory, but alas, I think it's the correct one. So if you've never heard about this, well, now you have. But yeah, I've been meaning to make this for a while, and I'm glad I could finally put it out there. And if you've made it this far into the video, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. Take care.